When I was growing up, my understanding of what my expectation or my understanding of what Christian worship should look like was basically a little bit of singing in the beginning and a lengthy sermon, and then generally speaking, the capacity individually and on our own to be able to articulate it and to be able to share emotional that we have had an emotional reaction to this. My idea of liturgy at that point in my life would have struck me as too formal and potentially insincere. I don't think I would have. I think I would have been critical principally of the repetition of it. My first encounter with liturgical worship was when I first began to go to an Anglican church, and because I had a professor who had invited me, he was able to explain much of what was going on and why things were said in the way that they were said and why it was structured in the way that it was structured. Then I began to read some works about the early church and what characterized their worship. That was a great help to realize that actually largely this is the same. I very quickly got over the idea that the liturgy was an impediment to authentic and sincere worship, and actually began to see it quite clearly as something that helps us to worship, because it's not, it's presumptuous to think we don't need to be shaped and taught, right, in our relationship with God. That this is for me, the heart of the matter is that the church is a mother. We speak about mater ecclesia. Parents teach their children how to behave and how to speak so that they can grow up and flourish and be mature and healthy, right? And it would be irresponsible to say, well, I'm just going to let my child figure it out on his own. And so the church provides us with the form of how we are to properly and most rightly worship God. I think that people from my childhood and from the churches that we went to growing up would be surprised and very interested to discover how rich and how helpful the church's liturgy actually is. What I realized when I was making my way back to the Catholic Church is that I had a lot of misunderstandings and prejudices, or just ignorance, had things I just hadn't thought about at all. Had no opinion on at all, because I'd never even really thought about it. And so I believe that for an open-minded person that this is often the case.